Hey Geek, so back in 2024, I decided to do something that was one of the scariest, but also one of the most exciting things that I've ever done in my life. And that was quite simply making the decision to actually go travel for months, which ended up becoming nearly a year of travel in Southeast Asia and East Asia. And so from 2024 to 2025 and now 2026, I've been traveling back and forth to Southeast Asia and the United States. And well, I wanted to give you my thoughts on this from somebody who is not like a well-traveled person, but also somebody who is now traveled to another country for nearly a year. And so I wanted to give you my thoughts on my experiences of Asia versus USA, and also whether or not it's time to leave. So let me give you a little bit of background of the countries that I went to. So I went to Malaysia, specifically Kuala Lumpur. I then went to Laos, and Laos is actually the place where I stayed the most, and it's actually my birth country, my mother country. And then I actually went to Thailand and then Tokyo, Japan. And I already had some flights for both South Korea and also for Vietnam, but some things happened and I ended up not going there, but I will go there at some point. And so those were the countries that I went to, and most of my time was spent in Southeast Asia. And now let's go ahead and talk about like the things that really stuck out to me as somebody who is from the United States going to Asia. Starting off with the thing that was very, very obvious when I got there, specifically in Southeast Asia, and that's the simple fact that you being American with US dollars, it really changes the overall life or potential life that you could have there, and also changed a lot of my perspective on what it was to be an American. And so whenever I went to Southeast Asia, the money went so far, and I cannot stress you enough how much of a difference that makes from a day-to-day life. You know, the things that you could do, your overall, I would say, perspective on things, and also your ability to enjoy things that typically you would not enjoy in a place like the United States, because money does matter. So in most of Southeast Asia, the amount of money that I could spend was relatively the same or close, with Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia being the most expensive compared to other countries like Laos and Thailand. And when I say expensive, I'm talking about you being able to eat out every single day for around 10 to 15 US dollars. And Kuala Lumpur, I was definitely able to do that. But at the same time, I could probably stretch my money just a little bit further in places like Laos, Thailand, and then probably in Vietnam and Cambodia as well. And so in general, in these countries, I was able to go out every single day, eat out every day for around 10 to 15 bucks. So let's just say for a good budget, and maybe you're going to bring somebody with you, you could probably eat out every single day in pretty much almost any place that you want to eat, except for really high class places, for around $20 per day. So that's probably around 600 US dollars per month. And in the United States, that might be like only a week or 2 weeks for some people, depending on where they live, because $20 a day in the United States maybe will get you a value meal with some desserts, you know, because things are just so expensive, and food is probably the place where I feel that there's the biggest change in overall cost, and also the overall quality of the food. I was just in love with the variety of food, the freshness, how healthy I felt eating in Southeast Asia and in Japan especially. I just absolutely love the food in these countries. And me being Asian, I'm Laotian, it was a lot easier for me to adjust to this because we already eat this in America. But in these countries, these are the authentic food, and at the same time I was able to get a variety of foods that I've never ever had before. And so the cost, because of the US dollar, is huge. I was able to pretty much eat out every single day. I was able to go to almost every tourist place that I wanted to go to. Taxi rides, Grabs, they were very inexpensive. And overall, I just had an amazing time for the simple fact that my money went so far, and the place where it went the furthest, besides food, is actually housing. So in places like Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, you can rent out a really nice condo in a high-rise building with all the amenities for, at the time, is around $1,000 to $1,200 a month, which is really good compared to the U.S. In the U.S., you'd probably have to pay $5,000 to $6,000 to get something like that per month, especially if it's closer to the center of the city. And then in places like Laos and Thailand, you could get places as a local for $200 per month. You know, maybe even less if you know where to go. And so that is absolutely insane. Thailand is more expensive than Laos, but it's not significantly more expensive. So for around $500, you can get a really nice place in Thailand. And obviously, if you're 1,000 or more, you could stay in pretty much the best places in that country. And that is something that I definitely could not do here in the United States. In the United States, especially if you're in places like California or New York City, $1,000 might get you a closet or a bathroom somewhere. You know, that's about what you're able to get. Whereas in these countries, you could get pretty much the best of the best with a ton of amenities. And so housing is typically going to be the highest cost for most people in a variety of countries. And so at least there, housing was a huge benefit of using US dollars. And so whenever I was there, I was able to stay in really nice places, and I really had no issues. About the only place where I would say there was some struggles, or I could see the cost being higher, is in Tokyo, Japan. The cost of living there, real estate, it's very expensive. Although I still say it is a better value, in my opinion, versus the United States. Even though the spaces are smaller, you are getting a lot. You know, Tokyo and the surrounding areas, they have a lot of amenities in and around the cities and even on the countryside. And so that's what I would say. If you are coming from the United States, your money is going to go so much further. You could have some of the best food, eat out every single day. You could go practically everywhere that you want to go. And you could have really nice places to stay at a much lower cost versus the United States. And then the next thing that kind of surprised me was the simple fact that when it comes to availability of things that we are used to here in the United States, things like the internet, things like transportation, places to shop, having like things that normally you would be able to get in the United States, they have those in these other countries, specifically in the larger cities. And so I didn't feel like I was missing anything. Even though some of these countries are still deemed like third world or developing countries, I was still able to live basically like I live here in the United States. Now, there are some places where you're not going to be able to find all the things that you would want. For example, when I was in Vientiane, Laos, which is the capital city of Laos, there's not readily available places for electronics. I mean, there are electronic shops, but not like there are here in the United States, you know. And then also malls, there's really not that many big malls. Whereas if you go to some place like Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Thailand, or Tokyo, Japan, you have all of those things and then some. The malls in those countries are absolutely insane. There's a huge mall culture. It's so much different than the United States. And so in general, if you're worried about going to these countries and not having the things that you have here in the United States, I wouldn't worry as long as you are going to larger cities. The larger cities have all the things that you would want and even more at a generally lower cost versus the United States. And here's something that I don't think most people think too much about until they've been to other places that do this a lot better. And that's quite simply safety. Because here in the United States, I'm not saying that it's unsafe, but there's a lot of crime, a lot of violence, especially in the much larger cities where you're constantly having to like worry and think about things, you know, whether it's a shooting, a robbery, or some other crime. And so you always have that in the back of your mind. Whereas in the Southeast Asian, East Asian countries, I always felt safe. That's not to say that there's not crime, but the likelihood of you experiencing really violent crimes like you do here in the United States it's much, much smaller. And it was like that throughout all of Southeast Asia and in East Asia. And a lot of it has to do with the cultural values that these countries, even though they are different countries, they're very similar values. And so that's something that I really, really appreciated and love. And so if you are somebody who's traveling specifically with family, for the most part, I think it's just a lot safer in these countries versus in the United States. And that does a lot to you mentally and emotionally, because now you don't have to worry so much about that, and you could focus on enjoying your times and also enjoying with your family if you are going to be doing, you know, a family trip. And so that is a huge thing, I think, for me, because I enjoyed being able to do things even in really odd times while still feeling really, really safe. And so if you are somebody who's going to be traveling alone or with family, in general, I think the overall safety is going to be better versus a place like United States. Now, here's another big thing when it comes to costs. And for some people, this might be the most important thing, and that is healthcare. Now, depending on where you go in these Southeast Asian regions, their healthcare quality could be different. But the one thing that is consistent is that the overall cost of healthcare versus the United States is absolutely insane, especially if you are in a country that not only has low cost, but is also highly developed when it comes to healthcare. Places like Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Thailand, and even in Tokyo, where it is more expensive than those Southeast Asian countries. In Japan, you're going to get very advanced healthcare, but at the same time, the cost is not as high as the United States. So let me give you an example of my personal experience. So whenever I was in Thailand, I had gotten into an accident. I actually ran a bike that I rented into a wall, and I did have some bruises and swelling on my arm, and the bike was damaged as well. But I was able to go to a clinic. Obviously, I had no insurance there. I didn't speak Thai, you know, I could speak Laos, but luckily my cousins were there with me, and we had to look for a place to go. And we were on an island. We were near Pattaya, and so we were on an island, I think it's Koh Lan, and so that added another level of complexity and challenge. But we were able to find a clinic. They were able to get me a checkup, an x-ray, medication, all of those things. And I was also able to fix the bike that I had damaged as well. And all of this was around $100 US. I think, if I recall correctly, at the most, it would have been like $130 US. That's for both of those things together. And my actual visit to the clinic was around $80 US, if I remember correctly. And then the repairs for the bike was around 30 to maybe $40, if I remember correctly. But regardless, there is no way I would have been able to go to the hospital or clinic for $80 and get all of that done, nor would I have been able to fix a motorcycle that I had actually wrecked for, you know, $30-40. There's absolutely no way. But the healthcare one, that is the biggest thing. And if you're in a country like Thailand or Malaysia, you could get really excellent healthcare at a low cost. And then if you want even better healthcare, more advanced healthcare, and it's just pay a little bit more, you are going to have to go to a country like Japan or in South Korea. But in either cases, healthcare is just so insanely affordable in these countries. Medication, and then there's not so many loops and hoops that you have to jump through. Like if I needed medication, like in Laos, I just go to a pharmacy and get the one that I want. Now, there are restrictions on some medication, but for the most part, as long as you know the medication, you can just get it. You don't need approval. You don't need to get things approved by a doctor or your insurance company. You just go and buy the one you want for the most part. And things like that really, really changes how you live day to day. Because now, if something were to happen, unlike United States, even with insurance, you don't have to worry about going bankrupt because of a healthcare visit. And if you're somebody who already has existing health issues, this could be huge. And for some people, this is the most important thing. And so that is also one of the biggest differences that I saw with Asia and the United States. That's the overall cost of healthcare. And I would also say the quality of care that you get, because now you're not limited to just people who can afford it, because with the US dollars, you could basically afford the best healthcare at really high quality, depending upon where you go. And then the final big thing that I noticed when comparing the US to Asia is just the people. The people in Southeast Asia, East Asia, and that whole entire Asian region. And one thing that you'll notice is whenever you are visiting these countries, a lot of the tourists that go there aren't actually Europeans or Americans. They're other Asians, other Koreans, Japanese, Chinese. Those are the ones who are visiting all these other Asian countries, and obviously it makes sense, it's close. But the overall values, as I talked about a little bit earlier, it's very similar. So whenever I went there, I just had a much more pleasant and welcoming experiences with these people in Southeast Asia and East Asia. And then if you are somebody who is not ethnically an Asian, I think you're still going to feel very comfortable there. And people seem to be more willing to help. And in general, I think just people have a more positive, happy attitude. And that's not to say that everybody's going to be like that or people don't have problems, because that's something that everybody experiences. But the overall general feel that I have with the people of these regions is that, well, it's just a happy, welcoming place. And that's something that I really can't say in the United States. Depending on where you're at and the type of people you run into, that might not always be the case. Whereas in Asia, in general, that's how I felt, regardless of which country that I went to. And that makes a really big difference. And if you're somebody who does have a family and kids, most of these countries, they're very family oriented. And so that makes the entire experience with the people there just that much better, because whenever you are focusing on your family, more family focused, a lot of the values are different. It's more about what you can do for your family and your collective community and your country versus just solely focus on me, more individualistic, which is something that is really valuable here in the United States. But those are overall the big things that I noticed when comparing the USA to Asia. And it goes back to the question that I had earlier, is it time to leave? Well, if you've never visited these countries, I do recommend that you go visit them. Leave for a little bit, go visit. And who knows, you might end up taking multiple months in those countries, coming back and forth, or maybe deciding that you want to leave on a more permanent basis. So, if you actually had any thoughts on this, be sure to leave in the comments area below. And if you did want to see more of my travel videos, my travel journey, I do have an entire playlist. I'll leave that in the description area below or up here. Alright, so I'm going to give this another try, but this time I'm going to hold the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 in my left hand. Hopefully this works. Let's see if this works better. And I am on a dirt road, but it's drivable dirt road. And with this motorcycle, I actually have different gears, so it's not an automatic. This is gear 3, so gear 4 is the highest this can go, and this is bumpy right here, so not sure how far I can go, but this kind of shows you how this looks like in more of this dirt terrain. And then I'm going to go back and show you how this looks like on actual pavement. So there's lots of roads like this in and around Vientiane, and especially in Laos and rural areas where they don't have paved roads, so you kind of have to get used to driving in this type of stuff. So hopefully you can kind of see the difference there. And there is, I don't know if that's a rice paddy, but yeah, this is something that is very common here in Laos. There's still nature and the countryside here in the city of Vientiane.